Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. So this is our fifth lecture today of maths for class 8, and today we will start with geometry. So starting with chapter 10, exercise 10.1, in which we will study different fundamental concepts of geometry. Right. So starting with the number one, that is a line segment. What is a line segment? A line segment is a part of a line that is bounded by two distinct endpoints, and it is denoted as a line segment AB, and diagrammatically it is shown as the line segment AB. Right. The line segment is a part of a line. It means it cannot be extended from any of the direction, neither from point A nor from point B. It cannot be extended from any of the direction. It is fixed between these 2 points, that is point A and B. Right. So this is the line segment. So now come to the line. A line is defined as a set of points that can be extended infinitely in two directions, and it is denoted as a line AB. What does it mean that is a line is a set of points and it has no endpoint? It means that it can be extended from any of the direction. As you can see in the diagram, the arrowheads are showing that it can be extended from the point A and also from the point B. It does not has any endpoint. Now come to the next, that is a ray. A ray can be defined as a part of a line that has a fixed starting point but no endpoint. It is denoted as a ray AB. As you can see in the diagram that the point A, which is a starting point, and point B, which is the other point, right, and the arrowhead on the point B shows that it can be extended from this point, but point A is the fixed point as we do not have any arrowhead over there, right? So it can be extended from the one direction. So this is the difference between a ray, a line segment, and a line. A line segment has the two fixed points. It cannot be extended from any of the direction. A line can be extended from both the direction, but a ray can be extended from one direction only, right? Angle. An angle can be defined as the figure formed by the two rays meeting at a common endpoint, and an angle is represented by the symbol of angle. As you can see in the diagram that a ray AB and a ray BC both are meeting at an endpoint, which is point B. This point B is your vertex and forming an angle. Now come to the next, that is adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are actually the two angles when they have a common arm and a common vertex, as you can see in the diagram. Here we have three arms. Arm means that there are the three rays. These three rays are AB, ray BC and BD, right? And these three rays are forming two angles, in which we can see that BC is common in both the angles. If we see angle ABC, so BC you can find over there, and if you see the angle DBC, you can also see the BC here. It means that BC is the common arm or the common ray between these two angles, and B is the vertex of both the angles, right? So this type of angles, when they have the common vertex and the common arm, this type of angles are called adjacent angles. Complementary angles. The two angles are said to be the complementary angles when their sum becomes equals to 90 degree. For example, if one angle we have the 5 degree, so the other angle and the other angle we have is 85 degree. So their sum will be equals to 90 degree. That is why these angles are said to be complementary angles. right? This angles may be adjacent or non-adjacent, right? If they have the common vertex and the common arms, so these angles will be the adjacent complementary angles, or the other two angles, if their sum is 90 degree, they are also called the complementary angles, right? Likewise, we have the supplementary angles, but the supplementary angles are said to be supplementary when the sum becomes equals to 180 degree, right? Let's suppose if we have the one angle of 60 degree and the other angle of 120 degree, so and their sum will be equals to 180 degree, so these angles are said to be supplement of each other, or the supplementary angles. These angles are also may be adjacent or non-adjacent. If the sum is equals to 180 degrees, so these are the supplementary angles. One thing keep in mind that whenever we have the adjacent supplementary angles, so their outer arms will be lie on a straight line, right? The outer arms will always be lie in a straight line if the supplementary angles are adjacent to each other, right? Vertical angles. What are the vertical angles? The vertical angles are actually the opposite angles that are formed by intersecting two lines. When two lines intersect each other, the four angles are formed. And in these four angles, two pair of opposite angles are formed. These pair of opposite angles are called vertical angles. And these vertical angles are always equal in measurement, right? So we can say that when two lines intersecting each other, the pair of opposite angles are formed, which is called vertical angles, and these vertical angles are also equal in measurement. Alternate angles. Alternate interior angles are the pair of angles on the inner side of each of the two parallel lines, but on the opposite sides of a transversal. In order to understand the alternate angles, first of all, we must know what are the parallel lines and what is a transversal. So now come to the diagram. These two lines are the parallel lines. The parallel lines are the lines that have the equal distance from each other, right? And the line that intersect these two parallel lines is called a transversal. And when this transversal intersect these two parallel lines, you can see that the eight angles are forming here, right? These eight angles, from these eight angles, the four angles we have are the exterior angle, that is angle 1, angle 2, angle 8 and angle 7, and angle 3, 4, 5 and 6 are the interior angles. So we have said that the alternate angles are the interior angles, and they are forming on the opposite side of a transversal. It means that angle 4 and angle 6. Angle 4 and angle 6 is one pair of alternate angles, and the other pair of alternate angle will be angle 3 and angle 5. And keep one thing in your mind, that these alternate angles are always equal. So we can say that angle 4 is equals to angle 6 and angle 3 is equals to angle 5. When this angles will be equal, when the line will be parallel. If the lines will be parallel and a transversal intersect these two parallel lines, so these alternate angles will always be equal. Corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are also the pair of angles. This pair of angle in which the one is on the interior side and the other is on the exterior side of the parallel lines and on the same side of a transversal. These angles are said to be the corresponding angles. As you can see in the diagram, that in these, when a transversal is intersecting the two parallel lines, the four pair of angles are forming here, right? And as we have said that the corresponding angle is a pair of one interior and one exterior and lying on the same side of a transversal. It means that angle 1 and angle 5. Angle 1 and angle 5 is a one pair of corresponding angle. So the other pair will be angle 2 and angle 6, right? and the next we will have angle 4 and angle 8, and then we have angle 3 and angle 7. These are the four pair of corresponding angles, right, from we have from this diagram. If a transversal intersect two parallel lines, so we can get four pair of corresponding angles. And what are the corresponding angles? Corresponding angles are the angles lying on the same side of a transversal. One will be exterior and the other will be interior. Now come to the question number 8 of exercise 10.1. In this question, what you have to do, you are required to form an equation in x in each case and solve the equation. We have given different cases here, like these cases are in the form of diagrams, and with the help of this diagram we will first form an equation for x, and then we will find or we will calculate that equation for the value of x, right? So first what we need to do, we have to see the diagram, that which type of diagram we have given. In this diagram you can see that two angles we have given. These two angles are 3x and x, and both the angles are lying on the straight line. It means that their sum will be equals to 180 degree. Why? Because when the two angles are lying on the straight line, this straight line forms 180 degree angle, right? So the sum of x plus 3x will be equals to 180 degree. So we can say that, or the first step we will have, that is 3x plus x is equals to 180 डिग्री. यहाँ हमने क्या किया, पहले सबसे पहले हमने क्या किया, एक इक्वेशन बना ली with the help of diagram, and that equation is 3x plus x, right? In the next step what we will do, we will add this x, right? The terms, like terms, that terms are the 3x and x will give you 4x. This 4x is equals to 180 degree. Now in order to find the x, we will remove this 4 from the left side and we shift this 4x to the right side of the equation, and we will get it as x is equals to 180 divided by 4. When 180 will be divided by 4, you will get the value of x as 45 degree, right? So here we have solved the equation for x, and x you will get as 45 degree. Now come to the one more example of the same question. Look at diagram number 3. In the diagram number 3 you have given, or the two angles are mentioned here, that is 2x and x. But in the center we do not have mentioned any terms over there, but we have given a symbol. This symbol is the symbol of right angle, right? This square is forming a symbol of right angle, right? So with the help of this diagram we will first we will make an equation, right? So the equation we will have will be 2x plus 90 degree plus x is equals to 180 degree, right? Why? Because all these angles are lying on the straight line, so their sum will be equals to 180 degree. ठीक है, तो हमारे पास इक्वेशन क्या बन जाएगी, 2x plus 90 degree plus x plus will be equals to 180 degree, right? In the next step what we will do, the like terms we will add the like terms over there, and the like terms we have, that is 2x and x, right? So that will give you 3x plus 90 degree is equals to 180 degree, right? Now we have to find the value of x, so we will remove this plus 90 from the left side and we will shift it on the right side. So in the next step what we will do, this plus 90 will shift to the 180 degree, and that plus 90 degree will be shifted when this will be shifted on the other side, so this will be subtracted. Okay, so this 90 degree will be subtracted from 180 degree, and that will give you 90 degree, right? And in the next step what we will do, now we have to find the value of x, so we will remove this 3 also, right? When we shift this 3 will be shifted on the other side in the division, right? So this 90 degree will be divided by 3, and that will give you as 30 degree. So the value of x you will get as 30 degree, right? Now come to the exercise 10.2, in which we will study about the quadrilaterals and different types of quadrilaterals. So first of all, we must know what is a quadrilateral. A quadrilateral is a figure bounded by the four straight line segments, and it is written as a quadrilateral ABCD, or a symbol of rectangle, which is also called a quadrilateral ABCD, right? And diagrammatically you can see that there are the four angles and the four sides, right? This is the quadrilateral that is bounded by the four straight line segments. Types of quadrilateral. The first type of quadrilateral we have is a parallelogram. What is a parallelogram? A parallelogram is a quadrilateral whose both the pair of opposite sides are parallel, right? We will further study its properties. As the first property of the parallelogram, we have the opposite sides are congruent. As we have studied that the opposite sides of a parallelogram are parallel and they are also congruent to each other. It means that the AD will be equals to BC and the AB will be equal to CD, right? And likewise the opposite angles are also equal, right? When the opposite angles are equal, it means that the angle A will be equals to angle C and angle B will be equals to angle D, right? And the sum of the two adjacent angles is 180 degree, right? Their adjacent angles, the two adjacent angles are said to be supplementary when their sum is equals to 180 degree. It means that the angle A plus angle B will be equals to 180 degree, angle B plus angle C will be equals to 180 degree, likewise C and D and A and D, right? The other property we have is the diagonal bisect each other, right? When we say that diagonal bisect each other, it means both the diagonals are bisecting into two equal segments to each other. Let's suppose if we talk about AC, AC is bisecting the diagonal BD. When AC is dissecting the diagonal BD, it means that BD is divided into two equal segments, and these two equal segments are DO and BO. And if we talk about the diagonal BD, this diagonal BD is also dividing the AC into AO equals to CO, right? Both the diagonals will be bisecting each other, right? Bisecting, when we say bisecting, bisecting means divided into two equal segments. The next quadrilateral we have is a rhombus. A rhombus is a parallelogram whose adjacent sides are congruent but none of the angle is right angle, right? A rhombus is also a parallelogram, but what is the difference between the rhombus and the parallelogram? That in the parallelogram only the opposite sides are congruent, but in rhombus all the sides are congruent, right? So we can say that a rhombus is a parallelogram with all the congruent sides. Now we will further study a rhombus with the help of its properties. The first property we have that all the sides are congruent. As you can see in the diagram that all the sides of a rhombus are congruent. The opposite angles are congruent to each other. This is the similar property as we have studied in a parallelogram, that opposite angles of the rhombus are congruent, right? The diagonals bisect each other. This is also the same property as we have studied in the parallelogram, right? So the diagonals in the rhombus are also bisecting each other, right? Now adjacent angles are supplementary. This is also the similar property that we have studied in parallelogram. Sticky. So in the rhombus their adjacent angles are also supplementary, right? A rhombus is a parallelogram whose diagonals are perpendicular to each other. This is the different property of rhombus from the parallelogram, right? What is the additional property in the rhombus? That is, its diagonals are perpendicular to each other, right? So with the help of these properties, we have come to know that a rhombus is also a parallelogram. It is also having the similar properties uh, as we have in the parallelogram. But what is the difference? That in the rhombus we have all the sides congruent and its diagonals are perpendicular to each other. These are the two different properties of rhombus from a parallelogram. Otherwise, all the properties of a parallelogram are similar to the parallelogram. A rectangle. Rectangle is also a parallelogram with four right angles, right? Why we say a rectangle is a parallelogram? Because its opposite sides are also parallel to each other. But their right angle differentiate it from a parallelogram, right? Why? Because in parallelogram none of the angle is right angle, but in a rectangle all the angles are right angle. That is why it is differentiate from a parallelogram, right? Now come to its further properties. The first property we have, a rectangle is a quadrilateral and the opposite sides of a rectangle are parallel to each other and they are also equal to each other, right? This is the similar property that we have studied in a parallelogram, right? The next we have each angle is equals to 90 degree, right? All the angles are the right angle. It means that the each angle is 90 degree. The diagonals bisect each other, right? This is also the similar property that we have studied in a parallelogram. Both the diagonals have the same length. This is the different property in a rectangle, that its diagonals are also equal in measurement, right? Square. A square is a quadrilateral with four equal sides and four angles of 90 degree each. It means that the square is also a quadrilateral, but it has all the sides equal and all the angles are right angle. Now come to the further properties of the square. In a square, the first property we have all the angles are right angle, right? The other property we have all the sides of a square are equal and the opposite sides are also parallel to each other. The diagonals of a square bisect each other and they are also perpendicular to each other, right? So we can say that the diagonals bisect each other perpendicularly, right? A trapezoid. Trapezoid is a quadrilateral which has only the one pair of parallel sides, and this parallel side is also referred to the bases. These parallel sides are also referred to its bases, right? Where it has also the one pair of opposite side which is a non-parallel, right? And we have here only the one property, that is the one pair of opposite sides are parallel. Isosceles trapezoid. An isosceles trapezoid is a trapezoid in which two sides are parallel to each other and the other two sides which is non-parallel but they are equal in length, right? So we can say that BC is parallel to AD but and AB is equal to CD. Here one pair of opposite side is parallel, right? Where the non-parallel opposite sides are equal in measurement, right? We will further study its properties. As the first property we have the basis which is also the parallel side of an isosceles trapezoid are parallel, right? The non-parallel sides of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent, right? The angles on either side of the bases are congruent, right? If we talk about the base AD, so angle A will be equals to angle D, and if we talk about the base BC, it means that the angle B will be equals to angle C, right? The diagonals are also congruent. The diagonal of isosceles trapezoid are also congruent to each other. These are the properties of isosceles trapezoid. Now come to the review of today's lecture, right? So today we have studied the fundamental concepts of geometry, and we have also come to know that what is a quadrilateral, and we have also studied different types of quadrilaterals and their properties. I hope you must have enjoyed today's lecture. So now it is time to say Allah Hafiz.